Welcome to Daddy vs. Doctor. Here are your hosts, pediatrician Dr. Scott Cohen and comedian Sebastian Maniscalco.
Wow, lot to unpack on this edition of Daddy versus Doctor. We got an ingrown toenail situation.
Yeah, we got to figure that one out for her.
That's gone sideways. We got a kid pissing at the park in public in front of people. We also got a kid humping a pillow and lots more today. Daddy versus Doctor. We have Luis up here, and this guy's kids are pissing in public, all over the joint. So let's find out. I've never really heard of this before. I don't know if you have in your years of pediatrics, but you ever get shocked every once in a while going, what is he doing?
That's pretty shocking.
There we go. Luis, what's up? Sebastian Maniscalco here with Dr. Scott Cohen.
Hello, sir.
Where are we calling from? Where are you?
I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Nice. Toronto. A lot of Toronto callers. So we understand that your kids are urinating all over town.
I do. Like, I don't know what to do with them, man. Like, every time we go to the park or every time we're in public or at someone's backyard, they just pull it out and try to pee. Even though I try to teach them not to, like, they keep doing this. They are obsessed with their private parts.
So how old are the kids?
6 and 4.
6 and 4. So, doctor, have you heard of like a public urination in kids this age? Is this?
No, I have. I've even had some parents tell me, like, the dads, when they were teaching the boys to potty train, they would go out in the backyard and pee with them into like the hedges.
My wife does that. I swear to God, she is a known person to go pee outside, and she's done that with the kids.
But she pees outside in the hedges too, with them?
No, she not with them. Okay. Like if we're hanging out in the backyard alone, she'll just drop her pants and take a piss on the lawn. All right?
All right. See? To be a guest at Sebastian's house. First of all, you should know we don't allow this in the United States. So I don't know what they're doing in Canada, but this is just no. But the problem with that, right, is that once they learn to do it, then they think it's okay. They can't differentiate like doing it at the park, doing it at a friend's birthday. You don't want to be in the backyard at a friend's birthday and one of your kids is in the back corner doing that. I assume you've told them not to do that.
Of course, all the time. Like, it's bad because we sometimes we're at a playground and they just feel like doing it there. And there's like parents, mothers, little girls. Like, I don't know how to control these people.
What would you do?
What I do? I mean, geez. It's hard because when they're doing it, it's not like you just pick them up, right? You got to wait till they're done, right? You have to wait till they're done. I go, you can't be doing this. What do you get? Like a smile, a smirk? What do you get? Like,
I usually get a smirk. Like, they listen, they look at me, but they're like, yeah, whatever. I'm still gonna do it. You know?
I think what I'd probably do is, deterrence, right? Try to pee before you go out, so maybe they don't have to. I think some sort of like, I don't know, positive reinforcement for the times they don't do it. So like, go out of your way to really, when you're at the park or birthdays and they didn't pee outside, really like go over the top attention in a positive way. So they're not just getting the negative attention for doing it. Because just telling them, no, don't do that, I'm sure people are laughing, is negative attention that now they think is probably funny. So giving the positive reinforcement on the opposite side probably would work. And then, don't do it.
Well, are they potty trained?
Yeah, totally. Of course, like, no diapers for the last year and a half at least, but on the little one, but they've never been bad in bed or anything like that, or even at home. They always go to the washroom. It's just when they're in public, they feel like doing this. They feel it's funny.
Well, yeah, but I think, everybody chalks this up to it's a phase.
Yeah.
Is that prevalent here? Or?
No, it's a phase.
Let me ask you something. Are you pissing outside?
Only when I'm with my friends. I'm driving.
No, that's been kind of like the joy of just growing up, especially a boy. I mean, I remember whipping mine out and taking a leak in a bush and then just carrying on with my day. However, I never did it well with an audience.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I think they like the audience, to be honest. Somehow they like it.
Right. And no, I think they're getting reinforced by the laughter in the audience and the, all that reinforcement. So maybe trying to flip it around, or tie their pants with the duct tape. No, don't do that. I'll get in trouble. I'm already gonna get it on. Yep. Dr. Cohen recommends duct taping kids' pants so they can't pee. Yeah, there it is. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a big issue right now, especially for my wife. When she tries to go with the kids out, she doesn't know how to control them, right? Like, it's very embarrassing. So trying everything.
I think it will get better, and then I think it will come back when they're older.
Traumatizing women, I guess.
Oh, God. Well, thanks for your question. We really appreciate you joining us today.
No, it's a good one.
Thanks for the time.
See you later.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I know. I never heard of that, nor have I ever seen that. So hopefully they will see that. By the way, the mosquitoes in Los Angeles.
Yeah, what was that? Well, like indoors.
It was a mosquito. It was a mosquito. But these mosquitoes, it used to be at night, mosquitoes come out, right? And in the morning, you'd wake up and you'd be riddled with bites. Now, I gotta ask you, is there a different mosquito? During the day,
like
and this
everywhere.
one looked like it had a dick.
It's
huge.
They're not afraid of anything. They're like hybrids.
Yeah, because like Serafina's getting welts like this. And I don't know if it was you or somebody else said vitamin B keeps the mosquitoes away, or is this
Somebody else?
Solana's giving her vitamin B, like vitamins, to keep mosquitoes away. I never heard of that.
I haven't heard of that. But there's a lot of things I don't know. So I think peeing in public may be the new autobiography. I think interesting.
Okay. Next up, kid is on medication for motion sickness and a variety of other things. We'll get to the bottom of this.
Did you get motion sickness?
Yeah, I get it pretty bad. The cast, there he is. What a nice shirt, bro. What's going on?
How you doing?
Good. My name's Sebastian. This is Dr. Scott Cohen.
How are you?
Doing well, thanks.
Where are you calling from?
Boston, Mass.
That's it.
That's where I was born. I just was at Labor Day weekend, Fenway Park.
We get there a couple times a year. It's awesome.
I saw a rare victory this year, but it was worth it. It was great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's the issue with your kid?
So my youngest daughter has a stomach issue. She's had it probably since she was born. It's different things will set her off. We've taken her in for endoscopies. They've come back clean. We've spoken to GIs. And basically where we're at now with her is she's on omeprazole 7 days a week. She takes it in the morning when she gets up, no issues. They've tried to back her off, once every other day. We cut it down. The stomach thing flares up again. We go back to once a day, no problems.
So what's the drug?
Omeprazole, like antacid. Yeah. So
acid reflux. She's got acid reflux. That's what they've told us.
Yeah. How old is she?
8
years old. Got it. Yeah. I mean, we see reflux at all ages. I mean, we were talking about reflux in a baby earlier. And I assume if you've seen a GI doctor, they've done the full gamut of workup, blood tests. Yeah, you had an endoscopy. That's a big test to rule out anything. That's going to rule out anything severe. Endoscopy, they put a camera down, they look, they make sure, everything looks fine. Mm-hmm. That's sort of your last resort test when you can't figure out why a child's having any type of, abdominal pain or reflux type issues. Question, did they ever do a, and I'm sure they did, test for H. pylori?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. The only reason I ask is H. pylori is a type of bacteria. You can test it in the stool. It's just a stool test, but it can mimic reflux symptoms. And it's treated slightly differently. And if you treat it, it tends to go away and then it's done. But the fact that she's doing better on the antacid makes it seem like, yeah, it is reflux. It stinks as a parent to put your child on a medicine every day, but I don't think it's harmful. I mean, if it's working, that's the most important thing. And because we don't want her to be in pain, right? And chronic inflammation from the acid reflux is not a good thing. And then I'm sure they went over like culprits in the diet to avoid that can bring up acid reflux. We're not drinking alcohol, obviously. Yeah. Caffeine, chocolate, spicy foods, tomato sauces,
all the things we like, right?
Right, all those things. So it's that balance. And then you still hope that at some point she outgrows it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Does it run the family? Anybody else with similar issues?
I mean, I get acid reflux from time to time, but it's not, a daily thing where I'm on something. Not at all.
Yeah. Have you ever had anything?
Acid reflux? I mean, I have extreme problems with my stomach when I eat certain types of food.
Or you drink constantly.
I'm constantly knocking down a bottle of wine a night. But like in our family in general, someone was always on the toilet. I don't know if what we were eating or what we had, but again, we just thought it was normal. Yeah. We never really went to see anybody.
You just really
like every time I had cheese, I was on the toilet, and this happened my entire life. Nobody ever thought we should take them in to see, what the problem is. I was farting through my entire childhood, and nobody said nothing. And I had to grow. I've been wearing the wrong size shoe for the last 40 years. I just figured out.
Nobody measured your foot?
No, I mean, it's just like I was in a 9, and then I think they stopped measuring. Like, fuck it, let them go. And I found out I'm like a 9.5, and I have my feet look like they've been cramped up in the wrong shoes for 41 years. So, not that this has anything to do with what your daughter's going through, but I just thought you might want to find. You look like you want to hang up right now, bro.
Not at all. I listen to the cast every week. I'm a loyal listener. Love it.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's very sweet. So in the end, you don't want the kid. Listen, Serafina was on medication for a while. And I'm like, all right, when are we going to get off this? Is this something that just runs its course, and then as they grow older?
It usually does. It usually gets better over time. It's unfortunate that's been going on for so long. It sounds like you did all the right things, seeing the right doctors, GI specialist. That's the right move. Ruling out anything else it could be that could be similar. And then when it comes down to if it's working, you stick with it, and then hopefully gradually she outgrows it. Yeah.
Is there anything we can do diet-wise for her, or just keep an eye on what sets her off?
Yeah, it's really just watching the foods that set her off. And there are very common culprits, like we mentioned, spicy foods, caffeinated foods, sometimes citrus, tomato sauces, the typical things that you feel that come up. So trying to avoid those, or at least limiting the volume of it, or knowing that when she has it, she's more likely to have symptoms, unfortunately.
My wife's Italian, and she cooks all the time.
I know.
Homemade pizza, everything.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the same way I grew up, and look at me. I've been shitting in my pants for 41 years.
But if she can eat it and take the medicine and be okay, right? You get the best of both worlds, I guess.
Yeah, man. So,
yep.
Any problems with shoe size?
None at all.
I'm learning more today than I'm really educating people about just everything.
Yeah, I've been opening up a lot about my personal life and my struggles. So it's been good for Dr. Cohen to hear. Appreciate you calling in. Thank you. Keep listening to the cast. Hope you're a big listener of this show. And we'll see you.
To meet you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Luck. You got it, brother. A lot of stomach issues.
GI stuff.
And is that the food that we're giving these kids today?
I mean, there's exacerbating foods. I think the problem with GI upset is it's so nebulous. Ooh, like that word, nebulous.
Nebulous. Mark
Add that
down.
to your. We should keep a running list of good words of the English
Just
language.
words that the room don't know, because I know you guys don't know.
Exactly. So it's just hard when a child complains of belly pain. They're just. Right? It's there. You just don't know what it could be. There's a lot of things you have to go through, figure it out.
Yeah. All right. This is Veronica, and her child has been dealing with a plethora of issues, ranging from COVID to hand, foot, and mouth, and everything in between. Let's get going with her and see what the problem is. What's up?
Hi, Veronica.
Hi.
How you doing?
How are you? Good.
Very good.
Where are we calling from?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
I was just there this summer. Spent some time in Linville Ridge, if you know where that is. Boone.
Boone. Yep, I know Boone. Yep,
Okay.
2 hours from Boone.
Okay. So we understand there's a variety of different things going on. Child had COVID, hand, foot, and mouth, and kind of everything in between. What's up, man?
Hi, sweetie.
This is Anthony and Juliet.
Hi, Julia.
what's going
Julia's
on?
how old?
She is 19 months.
19 months.
19 months. Okay. So what's going on?
I wish we knew. So she's had COVID. She's had hand, foot, mouth. She's had strep throat. She's had pneumonia. She's got a hernia. We were up last night with her from midnight to about 4:30 this morning. No idea why. She just had a ton of energy. So just try to figure out, like, we're first-time parents. So we're like, what are we doing wrong? Is it maybe nothing? Is it just she's got a lot of energy? Is she just prone to getting sick? I don't know.
He has a lot of gastrointestinal, so a lot of gas. And then the gas will cause her to scream in agony. So it's almost like maybe she's constipated. She's trying to pass gas bubbles. So she's constantly arching her back. A lot of it happens in the middle of the night. So she'll arch her back. And then until she releases it, then it usually subsides. So in the middle of the night is when a lot of it happens. During the day, she's not as bad. But like my wife said, we were up for 4 hours last night. She clearly was having, she must have had, I shouldn't say clearly, because we've had much worse nights. But when we woke up this morning, she had a very big diarrhea diaper. So.
All the stuff.
Yeah. So, when you're sleep deprived, that's probably the best thing to wake up to.
So
we've had it all.
Actually, so a lot of things going on here.
Yeah.
Is it just luck of the draw that sometimes kids fall into this? They get one illness and they jump to another and whatnot. And then is the stomach issue at all maybe causing the other issues? I mean, I know we don't know. I mean, we just know what we know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of things to unpack. Thankfully, most things end up being normal and unluck of the draw, right? But, the common things that, unfortunately, COVID, hand, foot, and mouth, very common viral illnesses. You see in all kids, obviously COVID in the last couple of years. Is she in daycare?
Yep.
Yeah. So daycare kids get sick all the time. It's just unfortunate. Daycare is wonderful, but they're all touching everything, hands in the mouth, hands in the nose. It's disgusting. So you just know kids who basically go to daycare in wintertime when we used to have seasonality illness. It was like September to March. You're going to have a runny nose. You're going to have cough. You're going to have hand, foot, and mouth. You're going to have something. Strep for at 21 months old, not the most common thing. Was she actually swabbed and actually came back positive strep? That's interesting. Yep. Yeah, not the most common thing at that age. We think of strep more school-age kids. Not impossible if she had a direct exposure, but we don't often see it at that age, but possible. And then pneumonia, one bout of pneumonia or multiple?
One, thank God.
Okay.
She was only 6 months old in July. Yeah.
I'm sorry you're going through all this. Yeah, I mean, I think very likely it's being unlucky and she's catching normal kid things and kids get sick. The only thing I would say, and this is not to scare anybody, but if the infections keep becoming recurrent, the more severe infections, I would call that the pneumonias, then we'd want to look into making sure her immune system is working appropriately. And what doctors do is we do blood work looking at the immune system. One-offs, we don't do that. And having all these viruses one after another, we don't do it. But if you have larger infections that are a bigger deal, like pneumonias, you shouldn't have recurrent pneumonias and things like that. So it's just something I think about. The hernia, I can't see how that would be related to the others. I think that's unlucky. She had an inguinal hernia or umbilical hernia?
It's right above her belly button.
So they thought it was umbilical, but it's actually not. So it's just something she was born with and then sort of formed around it. So I actually have two questions.
Yeah.
So we had the COVID. We had no COVID for the first couple years, and then we've gotten it twice now in like a 6-month span. So my wife has done an awesome job with getting the baby to sleep through the night until we had COVID the first time. Then that threw everything off. Since February, we have really not slept through the night. I could probably count on my hands and toes maybe how many times we've slept through the night since February. And a lot of times she's screaming like she's in agony. It's not, we can tell when she's just whiny versus like there's something going on.
Like
Obviously,
screaming.
she's always sick or something like that. How do we get her back on, to make your life easier with this question, how do we get her back onto a real schedule? Because she is always sick. Do we give her maybe Benadryl for like a week to get her to go to like keep her down? Does she have to eat more? I don't know. That's question one. And then question two is we'll get it after this one.
Okay. So kids being knocked off their sleeping pattern, whether due to travel, illness, what have you. How, I've seen this a little bit, and I've also called you on this. I said, kids not sleeping as sound as she or he used to. What is that? And sometimes it's, growth spurts, although this is going on quite a long time. So I've heard this Benadryl thing.
Yeah. I don't like using medication to help sleep. First of all, it's only a short-term solution, 4 to 6 hours. Actually, a good percentage of kids, Benadryl causes the reverse reaction and wires you, and then you're whatever. And you don't get real good natural sleep. So I don't like medicating kids for sleep, period. I think you're right. I mean, when you travel, every time you're sick, when you're on vacations, whatever sleep schedule you were on is out of whack, because the truth is, if you're in a hotel room or you're not feeling well, you're not going to let your child just be. You have to tend to everything they want. Then they remember that when they're feeling better. So when they cry, they say, hey, you picked me up last week. Why aren't you picking me up this week? So sometimes, unfortunately, it takes a little re-sleep training. I say that, of course, with the assumption that medically nothing's going on right now, right? We don't want to be mean. If something's hurting her, you don't let a baby cry. You don't let her be. You comfort her. So I would judge that based on the daytime. If she's acting totally fine during the day, she's not sick, she's not complaining, most likely then the nighttime is more behavioral than medical. And I assume like her development and growth has been totally normal, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Growing like a weed. Yeah.
So sometimes, unfortunately, it takes a little re-sleep training after whatever knocked you out of it. And it may not be the last time. Especially winter time's coming up. Every time she has a cough, every time she has congestion, you run right in there, and you should. You're a parent. You got to take care of them.
Yeah. And what's the second question?
So the second question, so we've gone to a couple different doctors. When she was in the womb, it got pretty tight in there, and her leg bows. So like it's sort of when she came out, her foot was pretty bowed in.
Like a club foot.
And they keep telling us that, oh, she'll get better. She'll get better. She'll get better. Now we're noticing more now she's running. It'll get caught a few times here and there when she's running around the house. Mm-hmm. It's not crazy noticeable, but I come from a family of athletes, so I'm already thinking about big game situations and things like that.
I love it, right?
I want.
What's going on? She ain't gonna make the
not gonna get a scholarship.
How's she gonna get through the line? Right.
I don't want her to be a corner infielder. She's got to be center field, shortstop. We got to be moving. We got to be agile. So, is there? Would you like to see it? Is there anything?
So we actually hear about this a lot, bow-leggedness, assuming you mentioned clubfoot, but it was not a clubfoot, obviously. So babies are, when they're in utero, they're there for 9 months. You're in a certain position. A lot of times the foot is, flexed like this. The legs are in a position. And so you come out in that position, and usually over time that gets better. What we learned, to your point, the olden days, you always hear our grandparents say, he had splints, he had braces, the legs were so bowed. Mm-hmm. You'll never see that nowadays, or rarely see that nowadays, because we learned that actually the normal progression of legs, yes, everybody's bow-legged from their position inside the uterus, and then you stay bow-legged around 21 to 24 months. You actually overcompensate and become knock-kneed for a couple years and then straighten out again. So it's also very common to have a little in-toeing that you see or out-toeing.
Yeah.
Even when we send people to orthopedists, and if you're very concerned, like you really think she's tripping over and it's affecting, go see an orthopedist, a pediatric orthopedist. They'll take a look. But in my experience, those visits are just reassurance. They're not going to put braces or splints or anything like that.
So 21.
It's not a vitamin or mineral deficiency.
It typically is not. No, if everything developmentally is going on normally, typically not. There are rare circumstances that bow-leggedness could be caused by other things in the differential. There's something called Blount's disease, all these other things that are not common, most commonly. And I've seen kids who literally walk down the hallway that look like parentheses, and we do nothing and you wait for it and it gets better.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously if there's a concern, pediatric orthopedists rule it out in 2 seconds.
Awesome.
I don't know. Sounds like she's going to be playing center field, no problem.
I'm banking on I'm holding you to it, boss.
Where do you want her to play?
Softball.
Anywhere she's getting a scholarship, this kid's getting thrown out there. I mean, we're going to tryouts. She's time. Team USA, Team Italy, wherever we're getting put on, we're going.
I love it.
What, did you play ball? Did you play baseball?
Yeah, I went to. I played at Penn State.
Oh, wow.
One of their satellite campuses, though. I stayed close. Actually, my grandfather played professional baseball.
Wow.
For the Brooklyn Dodgers, back with Jackie Robinson and them. So, you know, I got my cousin. I got cousins that went and played Division I football and things like that. So,
Big sports.
yeah,
Wow.
we're huge sports buffs in this house.
Amazing. I don't think this will hold her back.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good news.
Well, thanks for the call,
Thank
guys.
you.
We really do appreciate you having on the show.
Bye, guys.
All right,
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one, Paisan.
All right, brother. Take care. Caruso's got like a, kind of like when he runs, it don't look right. It looks like he's flopping around. And I think I actually told you that his foot, like it would look like it was like concave. Yeah. Yeah.
But then it looked fine. I mean, have you seen yourself run?
I've been walking wrong. I found this out. Let's talk about the shoes. Yeah. Is he mimicking me? Because the way I walk, I bring my right foot, and I think it's really caused severe postural damage. And another thing I found out.
Postural?
Is that a word?
Yeah.
Postural?
You just used it as a big word for it.
Oh, again, the things you learn on this podcast. There's an issue I've also wanted to talk to you about. I have a significant leg difference as far as my
leg length discrepancy.
Yes, my right leg is much shorter than my left leg, and the doctor had said this could be causing some of the issues I'm now having.
Yeah, you're uneven.
I'm uneven.
Yeah.
Now, is it true that every kid is kind of born with not the same leg length? It's not uncommon, is it?
No, I mean you should be equal.
Yeah, but there.
I mean, there may be minor differences, but usually nothing that is significant. Because if you have a significant leg length discrepancy, it's going to affect your walk. It's going to affect your back. It's going to affect your posture.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
All those things.
Again, walking around.
Issue. I mean, this is
no doctor. We saw a doctor. They gave me a lift in my foot when I think I was 14.
Yeah, do you still wear it?
No, I haven't worn it in
maybe that's
years,
an issue.
so
Maybe your back would be better.
I'm finding out a lot.
You just wore something in your shoe.
Yeah. It would help me.
I don't understand.
All right, moving on. All right, Lisa, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
My name is Sebastian. Nice to meet you. This is Dr. Scott
How you doing?
Cohen. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from New York.
Oh, perfect. So what's going on? What seems to be the issue with the kids?
Okay, so my son is 8 and he's had horrible ingrown toenails since he was born. When he was little, I was able to cut it out myself. His toenails were really like thin and you just slightly cut it and it comes right out. But now he's bigger and he's also autistic. So it's a lot more difficult. I need to take him in and he needs to be held down and it's incredibly traumatic for him. So the doctor told me most recently that I should be looking into surgery to have them permanently removed. That's not easy for him because obviously like he has to be the first appointment of the day. You can't really like explain to an 8-year-old, you can't eat, you can't drink. It's, you know, it's a traumatic situation. So I'm looking for possible alternatives to correct this problem.
Okay. Is it common? I never even thought about kids having ingrown toenails because I just thought it came as you grow older and shoes and pounding on the feet. Is this something that's common that kids have?
Yeah, I mean, we even see it in babies because what happens is a lot of parents will cut the nails too short or file them really short, and then they'll grow into the sides and they'll get, you know, redness or swelling on the side of the nail. Thankfully, usually, you know, you do a little antibiotic ointment and the nail grows out and it seems better. When it's recurrent like this, it's really tough.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine how painful it is for him and miserable and how hard it is on you. And I'm sorry about that. And then when he has it, you do the antibiotic ointment and it gets better, or what usually is the process?
No, it consistently grows back. So every single time, like every 90 days, I'm taking him back to the doctor and they're removing it. You know, he has to be held down. It's dangerous because he's using sharp tools.
Right.
So, and if he misses a spot, then it gets infected, it blows up. And then I need to go back again. He needs to go in to remove the piece that he left in. And then oral antibiotic is required at that point.
Right. And they're actually removing a piece of the nail each time?
The entire side.
Side. I know. That's crazy. I mean, that's usually what we do is when it's recurrent like that, it's removing the side so it doesn't grow in. Right. Mm-hmm. And then doing some type of antibiotic ointment. I mean, the only other thing is prevention, but it doesn't sound like it's due to him constantly. Does he rub his feet against stuff a lot? Is there constant irritation?
He wears wide shoes.
Yeah.
So there's nothing, you know, pushing against the sides. It's just kind of something he was born with.
Yeah. And you've tried patting the side, doing as soon as it starts getting red, doing the antibiotic ointment just to try to prevent it.
Yeah, but his nails just grow out. That's just how they grow.
Yeah.
And like every 90 days, I'm going back to get them cut because like he doesn't even let me cut them like at all.
Yeah. No, that's really tough. I've never had somebody who's needed that so frequently because usually it's cutting the nail and it's sort of one and done. And it's very infrequent to come back so frequently that there may not be a lot of options there. I mean, it sounds like you're doing everything right. That's a tough one. I know.
Yeah, I just hate to have him take his toenails off.
No, I know. I haven't specifically honestly heard of that treatment of removing the entire nail. Was this a podiatrist, an orthopedist?
I've taken him to 3 podiatrists.
Yeah. And that's the recommendation
at this point, because he's getting bigger. And as he gets older, it's going to be more difficult to hold him down for them to remove it in the office.
Got it. Yeah. I have to admit, I don't have a lot of experience with that.
Normally, he is not stumped.
I know.
Yeah, this is
because I feel bad. I like to give answers that can be helpful, and it seems like you're doing everything right, and you've seen the right people. I mean, the only other thing would be seeing. I mean, podiatrists. You know, they usually handle this realm. Pediatric orthopedists could look at the nail as well. That's a possibility, but I think it sounds like you're seeing the right people. Yeah.
If he grows, is it again? I always go to this. Do you grow out of it?
I mean, it sounds like with this he hasn't. I mean, that's the thing. If his nails are growing a certain way, she's right. It's like, how do you prevent it from growing that way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's tough. And she's doing everything. Yeah.
Maybe the foot, as the foot grows,
right?
Maybe the foot then takes shape. I don't know. I mean,
yeah. I'm gonna ask around. I have to be honest and see if what other options there are for somebody with recurrent, ingrown nails at this.
And they've also burned the roots on both sides. Yeah. They use some type of chemical to burn the sides of each root after they cut it out, and it still grew back after that. Yeah.
Super nails.
We've done.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to do some research. Thank you. I'm so sorry that I don't have a better answer. It sounds like you've done everything right. Now I got some homework now.
All right. Well, thank you for your call. We wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, wow,
That's tough. Like every 3 months to go in, and what they do, I mean, imagine that hurts. You have to like numb the area, and they basically cut off like a quarter of your nail. That hurt. Think about it. You have like a little side nail, and it hurts.
Yeah, my father had it done, but he was an adult when he had his done. But the 8-year-old kid who's going through all that and autism on top of it's awful. Okay, we got Vincent up next here. Daughter humping the pillow. I have experience with this in my own family. I'm
glad you said that.
No. Vincent, what's up?
What's up, guys?
Hey, Vincent.
Where are you calling from?
I'm in Orange County near Laguna Beach.
Oh, cool. Okay. So how old's your daughter?
She turned 6 in June.
6 in June. And she's humping the pillows?
She's what?
She's humping pillows? Is that the issue?
I mean, no exaggeration. Yeah, it's actually called a squishmallow. But it's a type of pillow. Yeah. It's, I don't know, Costco thing, whatever. And she's been doing this maneuver on it since she was like 3. And I called it out one time. And she's like, I'm going to go over here. And I'm like, oh, you're going to do your little move. And so she calls it her little move now. And I'm trying not to embarrass her, of course, but she is definitely getting down on it. And it's so one of those things.
Growing up, my sister would lay on the floor, face down with her head to the side, and basically fuck the floor, right? Now, this was going on, I'd say, 6, 7. And again, we grew up in this family where it's like, I would ask my mom, what's she doing?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, no, she's just having fun. And I'm like, like there was no like, go to the pediatrician, ask.
No podcast.
No, there was no podcast.
No podcast you could call into.
No Zoom. Yeah.
No Zoom.
Yeah.
So what have you seen? What is this? Exploration? What?
Yeah. So it's very, very common, very normal form of exploration. First of all, you should share with him that your sister grew up and she's got a job. She's got a family. She ended up being a relatively normal human being, correct?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So of some sort.
She grew out of it. It was a phase. We don't talk about it ever again. Doesn't come up at Thanksgiving.
So
she didn't marry a squishmallow.
Right.
No.
Okay.
No, so very normal, and you're doing the right thing. It's okay. We don't want to shame children. We don't want them to feel embarrassed, but it is okay to say, sweetie, you're allowed to do that, but we have to do that in privacy. We need to do that in their own room. So we're not doing it in the family room with a bunch of people over. We're not doing it in a car seat against the seatbelt. We're not doing it when friends are over. So it's absolutely fine. And you can say that's absolutely fine to do, but we got to do it in your own room, not around other people. And kids actually, they understand that very well, but it's very normal and it is a phase.
Is she picking up the behavior from maybe another child at school, or is this something that
That's a good question.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of kids just do it because it is exploration. And, they'll do it against pillows and sides of couches. I've seen hands and objects like toys. So obviously for those things, you want to make sure they're not hurting themselves, but in their own room.
Well, my son is 3, and he was on the couch one day, and he took his shorts off and was just sculpting it like a piece of art. I'm like, God damn, this guy's double handing it at 3. Is that normal?
That's probably something you saw from no, not at all.
We all did weird stuff as kids, right? With that, I mean, let's be honest, right? Yeah.
No,
so.
all very normal.
Yeah.
He will also end up being okay.
Yeah,
despite his genetics.
I looked at that. I go, this guy's going to be in the juvenile detention center when he's 18.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, buddy. Thanks for calling in, man. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks,
See
guys.
you later. Thanks for calling.
Right,
You got it.
Yep.
Yeah, man. It's a lot with this, especially you got teenagers. So it's
I think we do a lot as parents. Like we see a behavior in our child and we come at it with a different, we have a lot more background. Like we transfer different ideas. Like in this case, you're thinking about sex, you're thinking about that, but it's something totally different and thankfully normal. So
Rachel, how's it going?
Hi.
Guys, hello.
Who's this? Your husband?
Yes, this is my husband, Walt.
Hey, Walt, what's up?
Walt, we like when the dads come on.
I didn't know. Well, I didn't really give him an option.
Well, a lot of the dads are there against their will. We've noticed like sometimes the mom starts and the dad is like hovering in the background and then he'll come in. But got to give you kudos for jumping right up on the screen right from the get-go.
Yeah, I
Walt,
didn't get
Rachel, what's the problem with the allergies?
Yeah, so our daughter Whitney, she will be 4 in the fall, and she started having some allergies to sunscreen. She's very, very fair skinned, and the allergies kept getting worse and worse. And then most recently, about a month ago, she had like a rash all over her body. We had to do 3 doses of Benadryl, 2 of Zyrtec, a dose of prednisone, and then almost took her to the ED for an EpiPen, or like for epinephrine, I guess.
Right.
So for it to finally get resolved. So not
That's
sure what, such a weird reaction to sunscreen.
Yeah.
First of all, sunscreen.
Right.
I want to get into this because I feel sunscreen is a lot more prevalent than it was growing up.
Kids, yeah.
Now, growing up, I don't think I saw sunscreen. I don't think I saw sunscreen until I married my wife, to be honest
You
with
just
you.
went bronze? You went
No, I went on vacation with baby oil on my face. You know, like and now every time we leave the house, my wife, our kids look like mini mimes. Is this something that we should be worried about? I mean, I know
Yes, we should be wearing sunscreen. I know. Because we know that now, like long-term exposure to sun causes sun cancer and skin cancers and early aging, and it causes a lot of issues. So it is good to protect them. But sunscreens, there's a lot of different sunscreens in the market. I mean, could you figure out, was there like a culprit, like an ingredient? I mean, was it just a zinc oxide or was it a fancy one?
Yeah, so we found that I feel like I'm not giving you a chance to talk, but
I don't know that she asked.
Believe he's probably used to it.
Probably. Anyways, we found that the cheap sunscreens are what the cause is. So we just have to buy the most expensive sunscreen on the shelf and just hope for the best at this point.
Huh. No, it's just unusual to hear such a severe reaction to a sunscreen or any component thereof. And if she needed steroids and almost an EpiPen, I mean, she was having severe redness and swelling in that area. And that was the only thing, it was right where she put the sunscreen?
Yeah, and it was like mostly around her face. And the concerning part to us was, and she's 3, but she kept saying she felt like her food was getting stuck in her throat and her tongue felt like it tickled. So that was when the doctor gave us the prednisone, did the additional dose of Benadryl, and then said if it didn't get better within like 20 minutes to go to the emergency room. So
and there was nothing else she could have eaten or something around that time that would have caused it.
It's happened probably a handful of times, and I made the mistake of accidentally putting the sunscreen on her. That is one of the ones that, she has a reaction to. I forgot it was in my car and I needed it. And she needed. Oh, that's what we tried, and it turned into a.
It was like within like 20 minutes of putting it on, it was like an immediate reaction.
So your daughter's gonna like expensive things, basically, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, it's like $17 tiny little bottle of sunscreen that we have to buy now, and I don't know what causes it, but yeah, she looks like a mime. Like it's like putting white paint on her face. Like the poor girl.
Have you tried just regular zinc oxide, even the cheaper versions? Because zinc oxide in and of itself, which really is the best sunscreen for kids, you're just creating a barrier, doesn't have all the extra added ingredients that we don't like. And usually it'd be unusual for her to have an allergic reaction to that, unless that was in the other one.
I guess I didn't realize you could buy just zinc oxide. We've tried the Blue Lizard sunscreen, and that seems to be what she can tolerate the most. So that somebody tried explaining the difference between sunscreen and sunblock to us.
Yeah.
And I guess she needs more of a sunblock. So,
I mean, I think if it's working, stick with it, right? Why risk the chance of having an allergic reaction? It is an unusual and not something we hear about. It's such a severe reaction to something like that, right?
Yeah. So have you, giving the fact that you gave her the wrong sunscreen, has that been like a point of contention in the marriage where like you get in an argument, say about something totally different, and she goes, well, you put the wrong sunscreen on her?
I mean, I felt like I was really clear about what couldn't be.
That's why he hasn't said a word this entire time.
I mean, what can I say? I literally almost killed our daughter with the wrong sun.
I mean, I literally have them lined up and labeled like on our shelf, like in our kitchen. Like, and so, but I
didn't get it from our kitchen.
Yeah, he grabbed the one out of his golf bag instead and thought that was fine. So
if it wasn't this, it'd be something else. Cause I know in my house, anything bad that's happened to my girls has happened because of me. So it works. Even if you're the pediatrician, it doesn't really matter. Right.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good trump card to pull. I can't say that.
It doesn't work though. That's the problem, right?
Yeah,
you've been to my house.
I've been to his house and he has no say. He's extremely quiet at his house. He doesn't do any of the talking. So
this is why we started it. So at least I can get 50% of talking.
I don't talk either at the house. So we said, let's go and talk together somewhere else. So it works out nice.
I would willing to admit that I do the majority of the talking at our house.
I think we figured it's like almost like a 97-3 ratio.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Were you a talkative guy prior to the marriage?
I'm fairly talkative, yeah. I would say.
When you go out with your friends, they're probably like, he doesn't shut up. He's like, I got to get it all out.
That's true.
I got a lot to say. What can I say? I'm home with these kids all day. He comes home and I'm like, now you got to listen to everything I say.
Of course. That's the way it works. Well,
thanks for calling, guys.
Thanks for calling. And we hope she wears that expensive sunscreen and has no problems.
Just don't let Dad do it anymore.
Appreciate it.
No, he's not in charge of it anymore.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Great. Bye.
That's a big reaction.
Yeah. I mean, you know more than I do. All those, that's like 4 or 5 different things they had to do to stop the
which means there was a major reaction. I just wonder, it's just if you put sunscreen everywhere, then you wonder why wasn't the allergy everywhere?
Yeah.
That's what made me think, was there something else going on? But if it's happened multiple times with the same thing, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, like I said in the beginning of the episode, a lot of variation here as far as what people are dealing with, and to look at these people. And especially the woman with autism, the kid that has autism, you almost saw like the pain and the frustration in her eyes, even for a parent like myself, and I'm sure you, to see that, it's gut wrenching, but also you see it and go, you know what? I'm not the only person kind of like dealing with these kind of hurdles a parent deals with. But because I say again, it's like when something's going on inside your own home, you think you're the only one in the world dealing with this. And this show is actually making me see that there's a lot of people out there with severe problems. And my heart goes out to them. So, yeah.
I mean, as a doctor, you just want to give advice that you feel is going to be helpful and that's going to fix a situation. And sometimes there's not an easy fix, like in this family that we spoke about. And your heart just goes out out to them because as a parent, it's just so hard when everything happens. It can be scary. But having this forum, having other families, seeing that everybody's going through the same thing is also helpful too.
Also, like, interesting to see how the fathers, like a lot of this stuff is driven by the mothers. I'm sure you see it, and it's nothing to say, fathers are not participating, but generally speaking, mothers are kind of steering the wheel when it comes to, we have an appointment with the doctor, my kid's going through this. You get the fathers in on some of these calls, especially the guy we just saw that wanted his kid to being a professional athlete.
Right.
Because his whole entire family kind of came from a tree of athleticism. And the kid's got like a hook foot, and he's worried, at 19 months, is this one going to be able to run around the bases? I just think fathers give a totally different energy to a lot of
totally different perspective.
Yeah.
It's just how we see things.
Yeah.
Just seems different, right? I mean, thank goodness for the moms. I think most of the dads are just afraid. Are we afraid?
People got a lot of questions. How do I get on the show? What do I got to do? Well, this is it. Submit your questions or concerns to daddyversusdoctor@gmail.com. Write in there what the problem seems to be. Maybe share a video or a photo or two, and hopefully we'll get you up on the show so we could discuss your issue here with the doctor and myself. Get some really good advice, and we'll sprinkle some humor on top of that. Thanks for joining us today on Daddy versus Doctor. We will see you next week with more questions from parents around the world.
The opinions expressed in this program are not intended as professional medical advice, as a diagnosis, as a treatment protocol, or as a substitute for professional medical advice from your physician. Please consider your own medical history and consult with your own physician for your specific healthcare and/or medical needs and about your concerns for yourself and your family.